Hey, Aloha Offline Sharks. Tom Gaddis here. My business partner and best friend Nick Ponte on the call too. Welcome to the Aloha Friday Marketing Jam Session. Super excited you're here. We have a great show lined up for you today. We're going to be talking about how to spot upcoming trends and profit from them. One trend in particular that has been picking up steam recently and should continue to do so into the future. We know you guys are going to love it. A lot of great content planned out. Grab a drink, find a comfortable chair. I'm going to cue the intro, and we'll see you back here in a few momentos.
Are you ready for the fastest 60 minutes of local marketing strategy, tactics, tips, and fun on planet Earth? It's now time. The moment you've been waiting for. After 167 agonizing hours, they've returned. Broadcasting live from their island retreats, smack dab in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and now back for a brand new Sharks Live show. It's your hosts, the Offline Sharks, Tom Gaddis and Nick Ponte.
167 agonizing hours, Nick. Agonizing.
Oh, yes. We had to wait it out.
Yes, we did have to wait it out. Well, awesome. Welcome, everybody. See who's popping in the comments here and saying hello. If you're on here, say hello. Aloha, Jacqueline.
See Jacqueline.
Jacqueline wants the stream here. Jacqueline, I'm sure someone from the team can get that in there for you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Excited to be here. We do have a good show. We're going to be talking about a trend that's had the interest of our community for a while now. We see people talking about
a long time.
It. What's that?
A long time.
Yeah, a long time. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that trend and some ways you can profit from it. I think you guys
like somebody said from Las Vegas to New York, not from the Pacific Island retreats. Islander treats. Islander treats.
I like it.
That's funny.
Yeah,
not at the moment. We still have island retreats though. As a matter of fact, Tom, I saw this deal come across my desk for 10 condos at once down in Kahului. 10.
Holy moly!
For an interesting number, a very interesting.
Really?
You know where I'm talking about, right? Right in Kahului, the condo building. I don't want to say the name, but blank lights.
Oh yeah,
yeah. 10 of them though. 10 of them.
Wow.
So we might have even more island retreats coming up here. Those will have ocean views too.
Nice. Welcome, Mackie. Welcome, Tanya. See lots of people here. Bruce, welcome everybody. Excited you're here. We had a busy week. We've got lots of stuff cooking at Offline Sharks. You know, we don't always talk about all the stuff we have going on in the background, but we do have lots of stuff coming up. In fact, we'll just lay a little teaser here just so you guys can start getting ready. But on October the 8th, we do have a new product that we'll be launching. Yeah, so Patty, thank you for the concern. I have some books over here. I've been buying more. The container we shipped is supposed to show up tomorrow.
Nice. How long did that take?
Oh my gosh, we sent it at the end of July, and it didn't get here till the end of September. It took over a month for the car to show up.
The slow boat from Hawaii all the way to the mainland takes some while.
Yeah.
Takes some time.
Well, and all of that congestion at the ports in California. Like at one point, there were like 44 ships just sitting out there.
Right, I read about that.
Workers to bring them in. Mm-hmm. Pardon me, a little coffee.
Whoa,
now.
Bro, where's your mask? You have to put a mask over your mic just so it doesn't come through.
Yeah, so it doesn't go through. Awesome. Yeah, the books are on their way, but I have been buying some new books that will probably make it to the show at some point. But they're sitting over here. I'm not finished reading them yet, so we haven't been doing that. But what was I saying? Oh, busy stuff. So we have a new product we're going to be launching on October the 8th. You guys will start to hear more details about that over the next couple of weeks. Yeah, I've been busy here too. My mother-in-law's in town, so I actually went down to the Strip and saw a Vegas show.
What show was that?
It was called Absinthe.
the Absinthe. How's their marketing?
It's like billed as the best show in Vegas. And everybody that I talked to was like, oh my God, you're going to love it. It's the best show in Vegas, best show in Vegas. And it was a pretty awesome show. I will not sugarcoat it though. It was pretty raunchy.
It was raunchy.
Yeah. And I'm like there with my wife and my mother-in-law, and I was like,
That is funny.
Yeah, but it really was a great show.
Nice.
It was
nice.
really good.
And so is there a lot of people back on the strip? The weather all nice, cooling down?
Oh yeah. There were a ton of people out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty jumping down there.
Yeah. Yep. It seems like, just I always get a good pulse and a good read off of like my customers, what my customers say to me. We have different customers in different industries, right? We have a lot of I would say up until a couple months ago, the lion's share of all the businesses that we worked with in the agency side were all in the state of Hawaii. But ever since coming stateside, we have branched out quite a bit, and we've brought in, a number of people from anywhere in the United States. So we have one new customer from Detroit, one from Atlanta, one from Florida, one from, oh man, I don't know. We have a number, California, several other ones. I'm drawing a blank on exactly where they are. But that being said, I always kind of listen to like what they say, and I look at the reporting that goes out each month, right? Whether that's with SEO, whether that's with running ads, whether that's with, whatever our services are that we're selling. I see the analytics and the metrics and how many people are booking and how many products they're selling and how many visitors they're getting and all those things. And for the last couple of months, like it's, I mean, I'm sure you all can agree that it's definitely been like coming back pretty aggressively. And so, for the people that have been doing marketing for businesses in the last year and they've stuck around, maybe they weren't in a market where they were affected completely or too drastically. Now we're in this this trend upward where, now you look very professional, right? Because you're delivering so many more. Like a lot of our clients in Hawaii are like, hey man, we've been booked solid for like months now. And I'm like, thank you. But a lot of it has to do with just the world coming back, Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely it looks good. I like seeing people down there on the strip, seeing everything kind of come alive and all that stuff. So really awesome. I saw Jacqueline. Somebody said you could see Donny Osmond. Jacqueline said she wasn't. So Jacqueline, my wife actually waited on Donny Osmond at the Grand Wailea in Hawaii when she used to work there, and she just acted like she didn't know who he was. And then he kept dropping hints. He kept dropping hints about who he was. And she was like, oh, just ignored him. And then at the end, she was like, hey, say hi to your wife, Marie, for me. And he was like, oh, you don't know who I am. It's pretty funny. She loves to tell that story. Yeah. Awesome. Well, enough about Vegas life and the strip and what we got cooking in the background. Let's do some shark shout outs. And yes, Patty, we are going to talk about ADA compliance. That is the trend that we've been alluding to through this whole intro. So we are going to get there. Before we do that, though, we do like to take a minute and celebrate the wins in our Offline Sharks community. So I'm going to pull up Facebook here.
And I've been seeing a lot come in this week, Tom.
I saw a ton this week. Yeah, let me pull this up.
You sharks have been busy.
Yeah. Here we go. So here's what we want you to do as well. So if you go over, let me fix the screen here. If you head over to this link and Jesus, a little cough. If you head over to this link and leave a congratulations to our shout out winners, if you could do that at the end of the show, we're going to pick a few people at random. We're going to send you some Cash App money. So head over, let them know good job. You can always find the current shout out post at offlinesharks.com/shoutouts. I'm going to leave this up for a minute and let's get in because we do have a lot. Like there's, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, not counting you, Nick. 9. That's a lot. So let's dive right in. So our first shout out goes to, oh, look at this. This is nice. Before we dive into them, look at that. This week's Sharks win is a combined total of over $25,000.
Wow.
Wow. Holy
Man.
moly.
That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money for not
Amazing.
that many people too. A very like small handful of people.
9 people. Yeah. If you guys could just send 10% of that to us, we would have.
With 7% to me and the rest to Tom.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Anyway, no. That's over $25,000 in business generated from our Sharks, which is amazing. So let's talk about them. So first up, we have Devin Atkins. Devin closed another real estate client, $1,500 service fee and $500 minimum ad spend. So running ads for an ad spend client. Congratulations, Devin. That's awesome.
Which he's been very relentless. He's been, pushing, as we know. Tom and I know we had a moment there where we were mentoring young Devin along for a little bit, and the time came when he needed to be released from the
well,
what we call it.
He's a go-getter, right? Like he's taking action every day. He's out there hustling. It's really awesome to see.
Yeah, amazing stuff. You're muted, sir.
Whoops. Sorry. We've got Calvin Powell. Calvin sold 5 website client sites last weekend. He sold them for $300 each, so $1,500 total. He got a logo design for $318, and he got a big deal with a previous ABC channel Shark Tank winner to work on a new project for him. I like it, working in the Shark Tank.
And you know what's cool? So when did we offer that special on website client system? Was it last week? It was, right?
Yeah, I think it was last week. Yeah.
The week before that. So jumping into website client system, normally it's $197 product. I think we ran a special on it for just, I don't even know the price. Not that expensive, right? Price of dinner. Yeah. You could go out in a week's time, implement that, and go get 5 new clients. That's pretty strong testimony there on something, on a strategy that works. Probably a little underrated because it's basic website stuff, but now you have 5 people with websites, and now they all need traffic to those websites. Now they all need visitors. Now they need more rankings. Now they need more customers. So the next logical step is to transition them into a monthly service. So what a great place to start.
Yeah, really, really awesome. Congratulations, Calvin. Tanya Huffman, she accepted a new WordPress website proposal for $2,500. I like the way they phrase that. She accepted. That's good, right? She accepted a new WordPress website proposal, $2,500, along with a new logo design for $300. So $2,800, and it was from her accountant. A good reminder that the people you do business with are potential clients, right?
Yeah. What's that's a great exercise, Tom. It's like all of us here, what is the last business that we've been in, that we've walked into, that's not a like a big franchise or chain? What is the last true local business in your area that you've been into? Have you considered them a prospect? Why or why not? And if you haven't, all it takes is to really just look them up. Look them up. You can do it now, you can do it later, doesn't matter. But that prospect could be your very next customer, especially because you set foot in their building. You set foot in their office, in their shop. You might even know them. They might have cut your hair. They might have groomed your dog. They might have, I don't know what it is, but you have a relationship of some sort. And I think a lot of people they don't consider that. They sleep on that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just a few weeks ago when my wife and I joined the gym we joined here, that guy was like, "Oh, if you do a mailer, hit me up. I'd love to be a part of it," because we were just chatting about what I do and real casual, right?
Mm-hmm. Patrick says that the accountant is a good center of influence for referrals, and it is, especially because they're working with businesses, so they just an accountant, a CPA, and I send referrals to my accountants as well, right? We are both good people to do business with each other, so it goes both ways. As your circle of influence grows, as you get more customers, I can't tell you how many new business owners I have sent to the various levels of accounting and tax professionals that we have had along the way. And what I mean by that is we started out like, obviously doing our stuff ourselves, right, Tom? TurboTax.
Yep.
Whoop, whoop. But then getting a bookkeeper when we could afford it. But then getting a bookkeeper and someone just to file the taxes, and then a CPA, and then a firm, and then an enrolled agent. And, as these new business owners come in, not all of them is going to need a firm or a CPA or financial planning advisor, but they might need the bookkeeper. And I've given our old bookkeeper, so many referrals, so many people that they still do business with. And he's sent people back our way, two-way street. And that's just the point I'm trying to make. They're great to work with. Yeah.
Well, and they are a great center of influence. They know a lot of businesses, right? So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome
true.
work, Tanya. Let's see. Jill Ashton, she sold 2 new websites this week, 850 pounds and 350 pounds, which is $1,650 US. So 2 new websites there. Congratulations, Jill. That's awesome. A little applause. We've got Arnell Levy. So Arnell upgraded a chiropractor to take the entire backside of his mailer. That deserves a big round of applause. So he sold the entire backside to one chiropractor. Way to go, Arnell. That's awesome.
I'm curious, how do you think he structured that, Tom? You think he just gave him like a giant ad, or?
Yeah, probably just gave him the whole space and maybe gave him a discount for taking all the spots.
You could literally have just like a giant billboard on that side, right? Just a beautiful ad. Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah, really great work. Really great work. We've got Carissa Dobson. So I love this. Carissa was spreading the Aloha, right? The marketing Aloha.
Of course.
She reached out to an online store owner and offered her free marketing advice. The owner liked it. So the owner is sending her some free products to express their gratitude. So not only spreading a little goodwill, helping somebody out, but got something in return as well. And probably has a person that she could use as a referral or as a recommendation, even as a testimonial.
Nice way to work. Way to work the network. I
think you should get some glasses like that, Nick.
Are those glasses? I can't really tell.
Yeah, it's kind of small, but they're like some pink glasses. That's awesome. Let's see. We got a shout out to Scott Meisner. So he completed and out the door our mailers number 15 and 16 of 2021. That's just in 2021. So 16 mailers in 2021. His average profit is increasing too. $5,500 profit each reported last time.
Wow. That's incredible.
That guy just cranks them out.
Have you had Scott on your podcast?
I have not had Scott on the podcast.
You should ask him to come by. Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be a good one.
That's a pretty incredible number. 15 this year.
16. Yeah. Just in 2021. Yeah. Wow. He did like 18 total, I think, last year in 2020. Now
that's pretty massive.
16 already. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to hear. I mean, cause he's clearly taken, the model, what we've done and taking it to the next level. You know what I mean? So yeah. I'd like to know a little bit more about what he's doing. That sounds pretty incredible.
You can't really do those kinds of numbers and that kind of volume unless you've systematized a lot of what you're doing.
Yeah. And I've seen some pictures that he's posted, right? He's got like his kids working for him all the time. And so I know
he's got like 10, right? He's got a full company there.
Yeah. He's definitely competing with Jake.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Our next shout out goes to Johnny Ortega. He sold a new website to a consulting business. He previously did a simple website for $3,000, and then he sold another spot on his mailer for $150. So, congratulations, Johnny. That's awesome.
Yeah. Websites and mailers, man.
Yep. And then Oliver revamping a website for a current client, $600 euros and 300 euros a month for SEO. He also closed a 900 euro client for a mini sales funnel and training space. That's a total of $2,100 US. So that's amazing. Congratulations, Oliver. Yeah. Again, over $25,000 in business closed from our sharks in the community. So Congratulations, everybody. You should give yourselves a big pat on the back. That's awesome to see.
Everybody.
Fantastic work. And if you're watching this post and you don't have any clients, get out there and get some. Like, the opportunity's there, right?
Yeah, so true. And I would start with exactly like I said. Think about anybody that you've frequented recently. Go through your phone, any business owner that you know of. That's a great place to start.
Yeah, really great place to start. Okay. All right. So I got that. Let me close that off.
Richard, it's so fun. So Richard's just waking up hungover, he said. And usually on I mean, now that I'm on Eastern time zone, right? For the live show, I usually have my second cup of coffee. So I'm always having coffee during the live show. So I agree. It is a great way to, just get the ritual going with the wins, the coffee, the live, waking up from a hangover. That works too.
Yeah. Good way to shake it off.
Yes, sir.
So there were a couple of things too here. So, before we, I do want to do one more thing before we start talking about the ADA, because I know some people asked about the ADA compliance, and obviously we're running a special this week from Luther Landro, a little course on ADA compliance and offering it as a service, and we'll get into that. But before we do that, I do want to give a big shout out to our member of the week. So let me remove that. Perfect. Okay. Richard is in New Zealand. New Zealand. Yeah. But look, here's a big shout out to our member of the week this week. Here we go. I'm going to share my screen here. Our member of the week this week is Larry. And I think it's Bay is how you say your last name. But if I said it wrong, I'm sorry, Larry. Nick calls me the butcher of names. So good chance I mispronounced it.
The cleaver.
But Larry, he was a good steward of the community this week, asking questions, getting clarity on things he's uncertain about, and he had the top engaging shark of the week. So congratulations, Larry. Every week we like to celebrate someone in the community who's, like we said, a good steward of it, participating, asking questions, being engaged. So awesome job, Larry. Somebody from our team is going to reach out to you. We got some shark special stuff coming your way. And congratulations on being member of the week. If you guys can leave in the comments of this stream, congratulations to Larry. That would be awesome as well.
Congrats, Larry.
Yeah, cool. All right, let's talk about some ADA compliance. And for those of you who may not know, right, ADA compliance refers to the Americans with Disability Act Standards for Accessible Design, which basically says that all electronic and information technology, like websites, right, must be accessible to people with disabilities. So there's some criteria for compliance, right, that they lay out. And just so you guys kind of know, the criteria is private employers with 15 or more employees. So any business, a private business that has more than 15 employees needs to follow ADA, right? State and local government.
Is that the 15 employees? They need to follow ADA compliance online, physical, both?
Well, you have to be ADA compliant, right? Like if you're a business, yeah, and all aspects, right? So, okay. But that's one of the kind of criteria, right? So if you're a private employer, you have 15 or more employees, ADA should be something you're looking into. State and local government agencies, they have to follow it. And then businesses that operate for the benefit of the public, which is a very generic term, right? Like
it really is.
There's a lot of businesses that can fall into that. And so, one of the things with ADA compliance and stuff like that is there's, it is kind of I think it was President Bush that kind of got this stuff in motion, right? Where they started taking the ADA compliance from the physical to the digital, but it's still kind of a big gray area, right? And over the past few years, there's been quite a few businesses, more and more every year, it seems like, that are getting hit with ADA compliance issues in regards to their digital presence. Obviously, when you have something like this, nothing against attorneys, if there's any attorneys on here, but attorneys see an opportunity, right? They see an opportunity to go in and file cases and do some things. And so things like that have been happening. They've been making the news. I think one year, like 15 colleges got hit with ADA compliance. So there's, you see stories like that in the news. So, you might think, well, maybe this is something I should be, you might at least want to be aware of it, especially if you're a web designer, if you're working with clients, things like that. But it's also, an area where you could offer a service, right? Where you could offer to help fix this. And one of the stats that I found that was really surprising about ADA compliance was there's a website called accessible.com, and they did an automated analysis of like 10 million web pages, right? And what that analysis revealed is that most compliance issues, they kind of occur with seemingly basic elements of web design. And we're going to kind of go over some of those in a minute and talk about what that is. But like a pretty big number, like 98% of the websites that they reviewed had non-compliant menus. The menus were non-compliant, right? 83% of them failed to utilize accessible buttons, and 89% had non-compliant pop-ups. So, that's a pretty big number, and there's some kind of basic issues, right? And pretty much right now, most web development compliance companies, they're charging, if we're talking about this as a service, they charge anywhere from $1,200 to $12,000 for, get this, simple site audits. So they charge $1,200 to $12,000 just to go through your site and tell you what's wrong with it in terms of ADA compliance. And then they can charge over $30,000 for fixes. And that's according to research done by ADA consultants. Just so you guys know. So, that's a pretty big opportunity, right?
It is a big opportunity, and somebody said it's a money grab, and it is in a lot of ways. And you mentioned, Tom, attorneys see that as an opportunity, and I agree with you. I 100% see how attorneys can see that as an opportunity, but it's like the title. I think it has to do with the title of this live show today, right? How to spot and profit from coming trends, a trend, right? And in local marketing, as marketers, we also see these trends. They're also money grabs. They're also opportunities. It's just, for us, we're in a different market. We're not the people that are pushing, government type penalties. But we, as marketers, when Google rolls out an update where they're going to start penalizing a website for not being fast, well, as a marketer, we see that trend coming. We're able to get in front of it and say, hey, we'll speed up your website, and we'll charge a fee to speed up a website, right? That's an example of that. And that's why Tom and I, we created a course and training on how we started doing that for people. We started speeding up websites for a fee because we saw that trend coming. And there was a while there where we were just speeding up websites, $500, cranking them out. And obviously we're outsourcing the work. Nothing wrong with that, but that's a way to see a trend, profit from a trend. And like them, don't like them. It's here. So you can either, do something about it or move on to the next trend and not do anything about it. But yeah, I look at this as a lot of opportunity myself, which is why, we're talking about it today. And for a long time, right, Tom? So many people have asked us about ADA compliance because it has been a topic that has been coming across the desks of marketers for a long time, and from clients, right? Clients, local business owners hear about it, and then they ask us as marketers, is my website ADA compliant?
Yeah, and one of the reasons, we haven't really, this is the first thing that we've kind of brought to our community that deals with ADA compliance. And, one of the reasons we brought this particular thing to our community is because it's a really good general overview of the issue, of the problem, how you can do it as a service. It's got a pretty straightforward sales process to it. It's from Luther Landro, who's done a lot. He's done a lot of really great courses over the years for, agencies, offline marketing, things like that. This one covers all the bases, right? He talks about, what ADA compliance is, what you have to look for, how to identify the right prospects. He gives you a selling strategy. And again, one of the things that I think is interesting about ADA compliance is that it's really, your prospecting strategy is kind of a fear-based strategy, right? Like, look, you could face these fines. And one of the things he talks about in the course, which I thought was really clever, and I'm not going to go into the details of this, but he has a really straightforward way that you can identify people in your area that have been hit with ADA compliance issues. And then you can leverage that to close deals with other people, right? Like, hey, look, you're in Knoxville, Tennessee. Imagine you get an email and like, look, these 3 businesses in Knoxville, Tennessee have been hit with ADA compliance issues. Are you ADA compliant? Like, you might want to hire me to take a look, right? So a really straightforward process. He kind of covers all the details of that. It's really good. And then he gives you ways to fix it and all that stuff. But one thing, if you're kind of new to all this, right? If you're new to ADA and all that stuff, I'm going to put a link in the chat here. This is the ada.gov website. So you can go to that website and this is from the government, right? The US government. And it just talks about the technical issues and things like that. So if you want to like kind of dive into this and sort of, do your due diligence and see what it's all about and see what the government's saying about it. This is a place where you can go look as well. So put that in there. And then let's see, what's the other thing? There was one other thing I was going to say about this. I mean, the course is really inexpensive too. Like I think it's $27. It's definitely a good deal if you're new to this and you want to kind of see what his approach is and all that stuff.
Well, it's not. I mean, Tom, it's to be completely transparent with everybody. It's $27 right now for our community.
It's not normally
not $27. Yeah. It's on a special pricing right now till when?
Yeah.
You know when?
What's that?
How long? So basically, we asked Luther about it, and he was able to give it to our community at a special price. If you were to look right now, you wouldn't be able to get it at the special price. There's a normal pricing. Nobody else is offering it right now. So it is. I think it's till Saturday or Sunday. We're offering that price point until Luther is going to shut it down. So it is really inexpensive right now, for sure.
Yeah, and again, I've been through it. It's got a lot of really good information into it. I like this question here from Patty. So Patty says, I listened to the pitch. It makes sense that we can find violators and point it out to clients to warn them to save them from ADA fines. Where I'm nervous is in messing with their websites, adding codes, etc. advice. So that's a great question. And, I mentioned earlier that a lot of the compliance issues are pretty basic web design issues, right? But what are those things? Well, let's just go over some examples of some things that people should have as basic web design that would make a site non-ADA compliant, right? So one of the big things that I can see from ADA compliance is when you rely on one sensory mode to get the information, that's an issue, right? So, just having an image on a site with no alternative text makes it not ADA compliant because it's an image, right? So a lot of the things that you do in the beginning are that, right? Like just making sure the menus are ADA compliant, that there's alt text on all the images, right? That video and audio content. So like if they have video or audio content, that there's transcripts for anything that's non-text, right? Closed captioning on videos. That's one thing. Live captions, right? Audio descriptions, those kinds of things that should be there anyway. Those are things that can make a site non-ADA compliant, right? Using proper markup techniques like correct header and HTML tags, just structuring the site in a way that it has meaningful order, right? So that it reads properly. If you're providing instructions, providing them in a way that it's not just one single sensory ability, like I mentioned, right? Audio controls, they need to be able to be paused, stopped, or muted, that type of stuff, right? Not relying on color to provide information. Being able to resize text, that's something, right? So like text needs to be able to be resized up to 200% without negative effects. That's one area, right? Figuring out the navigation of the site, like we mentioned before, all that kind of stuff, even site naming things, all that kind of stuff. Like those are things that can make a site non-compliant. And Luther actually has a really great little checklist in the course that you can go through that will show you a lot of these things and talk about them, and you can use to check as well. So it's not just about adding a bunch of complicated stuff, right? Sometimes it's about just making sure some of the basic good website design practices and things are implemented as well.
Also, like, there are a number of ways that you can do the fixes, right? There are, and Luther makes mention to several different options for you for these fixes. And, but let's be honest for a second here. If any of you, that have been watching this live for the last 10 minutes, right? I think we can all agree that listening to everything that we have been talking about on what makes a website ADA compliant, I think we can all agree that we may know a website or two that is not website compliant, including our own, if you catch my drift, right? So that in itself is a very interesting thing to pay attention to, right? Because it almost, I don't know about you, Tom, but it almost makes me immediately think to myself, well, I'm like, well, shit, I'm not ADA compliant, and what I want to do is pause for a second right there. Just pause and put yourself in the mindset of anybody that you tell this to. It has built-in marketing, right? The fear, the urgency of getting this fixed in a hurry right now for a business owner. It's all built in. You don't really, you just need to state the facts, right? Like, this is what it is. This is what it's doing. Whether you subscribe to the idea of your specific website going to be a target right now or not, that's, completely out of the equation, in my opinion, right now, because I think there's a lot. That's an entirely different topic for another discussion. But it has built-in marketing is the point that I'm trying to make. So it's very easy to talk about in a way that sells itself, kind of the show and sell method that we talk about with the mailer, right? It's basically, it does its own thing. So I kind of really like that about it, and the other thing that I wanted to mention too, Tom, is that I saw people talking about this in the group earlier about there were a couple of people that chimed in and said, like, if you're going to fix an ADA compliant or make a website ADA compliant, you better like do your own due diligence and make sure that you're doing that. And what I would say to that, but what I would say to that too is, as with any of the services we offer, like I try to make sure that I make sure my liabilities are in order, and one of the things I like that Luther has there is he has a liability contract where he gives it to you, and basically anybody that you help, you're basically telling them, like, I will help you fix some of these things, but if for some reason you are not 100% compliant, it isn't my fault. It's your responsibility as the owner to make sure that everything is validated and checked. So, the conversation that you have, and of course, take that contract to your attorney, like don't put your life's trust into it. I mean, with any contract, you need to do your own due diligence and go check it out. But I mean, make sure that, when you're talking about this service to people, you're not putting 100% guarantee in what you are doing. You can even break it up into service and say, look, you have 37 different things that are not ADA compliant. I will fix a good portion of those for you for this small fee. I will fix all. Do you know what your alternative text is for all of your images? Do you know how to add that to your site? Because that can make you 27% more ADA compliant. If you don't, I can do that for you. I'd be happy to do that for you for $30 or $300, whatever. $30 is pretty low.
I say you lowered your prices.
But I'm just saying that I'm trying to give people an example of like how to set yourself up to, get in front of this trend, make some cash out of it. And, if you're worried about some of that liability stuff, like you don't have to tell somebody, look, I'm going to make your site 100% compliant, no matter what, guaranteed. It will stand up in a court of law. Like I wouldn't do that. So for those of you that made those comments, no one's telling you to do that.
Yeah, you definitely want to look into it yourself as well. And we've been doing some things at our sites to get them closer to ADA compliance, adding transcripts, all of that, captions to videos, things like that as well. But it is a process. That's
how I look at it for myself. Like, look, I look at my own site. I am not 100% ADA compliant, but I am also much higher than 75% ADA compliant. So that's all right for me. If somebody were to come after me for the other 25%, well, I'd probably have some amount of time to be able to fix it. That wouldn't really make sense if I didn't, and then I would get it done. But that being said, it is an opportunity for you to go out there and help make people aware of it and offer to help them with a certain portion of it, which is why we're here today.
Yeah, and there were, another good thing in there too, like, we kind of talked about ADA compliance, some of the basic things to do, but you may be wondering, well, like what makes a good, who's a good prospect for ADA compliance, right? And I think there's a couple of little guides we can give you on this live that will help you, point you in the right direction, right? Like with most of the prospecting we do, we always talk about, especially here, we talk about quality over quantity, right? And identifying people that are good to reach out to. Like one way we do that in kind of the real world is we look for, businesses that are already spending money on advertising if we're going to approach them about a marketing service, right? Because the chances are if they're already, we don't have to sell them on that they need marketing, right? They've bought into that they need marketing already. It's just a matter of where they're going to spend their dollars, which makes it a little easier to close them as a client. Well, for ADA compliance, you can kind of identify some key traits about people online that would make them, a better fit for this type of thing. One is like, are they really active online? Like, does their website get a lot of traffic? Do they have a really good online presence, right? Does the site have a ton of issues with ADA compliance? Like, is there just the basic stuff not in place? And I think inside the course, Luther gives you some scanners that you can use that will help you identify that stuff, right? And, are they like, can you get a feeling that they are, like I said, spending money actively on their business, whether with advertising or marketing or just wanting their business to look good online, right? And then does everything else look pretty good, right? Like do they do they show up on the first page of Google? Do they have a great looking website? Like, does everything look in line? It's just this one little thing is kind of like a thorn in their side that maybe they don't know about, right? And then another good thing to look for is, are they using WordPress? And the reason you can kind of look for a site that's using WordPress is there are some plugins and things out there that make fixing some of these issues a lot easier if a client's using WordPress. And if you don't know how to identify whether a site is using WordPress or not, there's a couple things you can do. One is you can look at the bottom in the footer. Sometimes it'll just say powered by WordPress. But if not, you can just view the source of the homepage, and you can usually, if you do like Control F or Command F on a Mac, you can just type in WP hyphen, admin, and it'll show up in the code, right, Nick?
Yeah, unless they have that page hidden. But yeah, that's one way of doing it. But
yeah, there's a couple of easy ways, and you can just Google how to see if a site's WordPress so you can identify that. But
to be completely honest with you all, I'd be willing to bet 9 out of 10 websites you look at are not completely ADA compliant. So, at the end of it,
even have the basics,
or even have the basics, right? Jacqueline says that she puts a site in. She uses Built With, which is a great tool that we use all the time too. It's free. So you can use that tool to check it out, definitely. And this, Tom, can you put the link? Somebody else asked for the link.
Oh yeah. Here
to Luther's offer. Something else that I don't think we've talked too much on this live about, that this topic has brought up for me, which was a huge issue for a long time. I'm going to jump back to the ADA compliance, but I think this is important too. Everybody here with us, small business owners, maybe side hustlers, side business owners, whatever you are. How many of you have like business insurance? How many of you have business insurance? In the event of your site not being ADA compliant, maybe you have some sort of insurance policy that could help you cover with some sort of negligence or liabilities. And the reason I ask that is because I'm sure a lot of you don't have business insurance. I'm sure some of you do. But the reason I think a lot of you don't is because I struggled for a long time to find the right insurance for our industry, didn't I, Tom?
Yeah,
it was
an ordeal.
It wasn't easy. And you know what? I'll save you the stress just being on this live. The company that I found recently, do your own research. It's called Hiscox. Here, I'll pull it up for you just so you all can have a look at it. I don't have any affiliate to this, whatever. I've never had to have a claim go through, which is something that I should share with you. But I put them through what I thought up against many other companies. And did my camera just freeze?
Yeah, it froze. Your camera froze.
I put them up on, the test with many different companies, and they're the one that I found that I trust more than any other. And insurance companies, in my opinion, are all, I don't like them. But, the reason I like this one though, big coverage for small business, there are policies that I couldn't, that have specifics to being a digital marketer, to being a somebody that sells information products online, that uses software, that works with local businesses, that build websites. They have a professional liability insurance plan that you can get. So I got the general liability, professional liability, which is what I'm talking about. Cybersecurity insurance, which is also very important, especially if you have sensitive information from your customers and clients. Also, there is the errors and omissions, right? Protection against claims of negligence. So I know that kind of went in a little different of a direction, but I feel like that is something that, a lot of people should have. And if you don't have any sort of policy, I should say that this is super cost effective. You can get a good general liability plan for yourself for like a couple $100s per year. So don't be afraid to look into it, get a quote, use a different company, do some research. But if you don't have insurance and you have a few customers going, you're at the point of like, maybe you have a CPA, I think it might be time to have a look at insurance. And, the reason I brought that up is because ADA compliance could be a piece of it. You could be saved if you have a good insurance policy.
Yeah, really good point. Really good point. Hey, one thing we should do, Nick.
Go
ahead.
Patrick says you should talk to Hiscox about ADA compliance. Thank you so much for bringing that up, Patrick. The reason I did bring up that idea came to me about the insurance policy is because previously I had your standard run-of-the-mill State Farm type umbrella policy. Still have it. I double up, right? Like how people get 3 vaccines that have like 10 policies. Why not? Same thing, right? Anyway, I was speaking to my adjuster. Is that what you'd call them? Insurance agent, adjuster, agent. Yeah. And I'm like, ADA compliance. I started talking to him about ADA compliance. I'm like, have you ever heard of it? And he's like, what? He had no idea. And I was like, yeah, ADA compliance, digital ADA compliance, where you could be liable for not having an actual ADA compliant website, maybe even a website that you've built for a customer that is not ADA compliant. Is that a liability and something that you might be covering as someone who builds websites? And he was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm like, I need to find a new company. So that's where that came from, Patrick.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, one thing, Nick, we should do before we announce our shout out winners as well, but we should also.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money, money.
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar. Cheating, cheating, bling, bling, got the chatter. You ain't talking money, then you're talking no matter.
We should give away some Cash App money.
I didn't have my notes open. Hold on. Let's do it. Who wants some Cash App money?
So, all right, put a question, and then I want to address this question that Patty popped in the thing.
All right. I haven't asked a Cash App question for a little while. First person gets the answer to this correct in the chat, gets some money immediately. Just a little token of appreciation for hanging out with us on this Friday, Aloha Friday Marketing Jam session. What does the acronym ROI mean?
Oh, that's a good one.
It's a good question. ROI, what does it mean? It's very important. I use it all the time in my, so I've been doing sales a lot in my agency lately because I believe in staying sharp and trying to make sure that we bring in new customers. And I've been using that word a lot when I speak with our customers about running paid ads or doing SEO. I say, we want to make sure we get you well, you already have the answer here. Return on your investment. Patty is our winner, I believe.
Oh, Patty got it. Quick on the keyboard today, Patty.
As a business owner, that is like the music to your ears, right? If you're going to be spending money in marketing, you want to make a return on that investment. And small business owners love to hear that. And so, the concept, you all know it, but you put $5 in, how much money are you going to get back for putting that $5 in towards running ads? If you can tell them there's any sort of profit margin, that's probably a pretty good deal in some shape or form. So, that's a great way to position it when you're talking to your prospects.
Awesome. Congratulations, Pat. Yeah. So this question I saw from Patty was something I think you and I were talking about before the live, Nick. So Patty said, so it sounds like we're selling our clients on ADA with no guarantee we can get their site compliant. Patty, we do that with lots of things. Like think about SEO. Like we can't guarantee somebody's going to get a #1 ranking, but we can offer to do our best job to help them, right? Based on best business practices. Also think about people in other industries that do that. Like financial people, they will give you advice and help you buy stocks. But if you lose your money, they're not going to pay it back to you, right? Like they can't guarantee that you're going to have a return on your investment. So I would say that this isn't much different from that, right? Like, yes, we want to follow best business practices. Yes, we want to do the best of our ability to help them get compliant. But ultimately, they need to have an attorney look at what they have and make sure everything is in line. It's not your responsibility as the consultant or the provider to do that. And so I don't think there's anything out of the ordinary about what we're doing here.
That's a really good question, right? I get the guarantee question all of the time. And it's not just with that. It's with, like Tom said, doing search engine optimization. It's with running paid traffic. Do you guarantee that you're going to get me results? And I don't, first of all, we do not falsely promise any sort of guarantee, right? That's not what we're trying to do. We're not trying to like convince somebody like there is some sort of a guarantee, but they're not protected. We are completely transparent. And I 100% believe that you should operate your business in this way. There's nothing wrong with telling somebody, look, I can't guarantee that you are 100% compliant, but I have been studying this for like a couple of weeks now, and I know probably 80% of this stuff. And what I guarantee is it within the best of my abilities, I'm going to fix all the stuff that I know how to fix. There may be some things that you need to look in after, but honestly, if you tell somebody that and they do not become your client, that's fine. Just move on to the next person. But I mean, I do that with everything. SEO, I rank really high. I know how to rank websites. Sometimes I can't outrank a competitor because they've been there for 50 years in Google search engine. I can't guarantee that I'm going to outrank a competitor, but what I tell them is like, look, we rank hundreds of websites and we know how to do it. And we are going to implement best practices. We're going to do our very best to get you as high as we possibly can, but we can't guarantee you any sort of results. Nobody can. We're at the mercy of Google. If we did, we wouldn't be being honest with you and being genuine and authentic in that way. It like the people you're talking to are usually like, okay, that makes sense. When you can articulate it in that way, you almost sell them even faster, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely don't want to approach them in a way that makes them think that they're being protected when really they're not.
Right.
We do not
don't
want
do
to
that to yourself
at all.
And you don't need to. You don't need to.
And you don't need to. And I think there's a good point. I'm going to get back to Jacqueline's question here, but like, look, Doug even said, look, the key to helping someone with ADA compliance is you show that the company's made some best efforts, right? That way they might not be getting such a big one. And even
I like that, Doug.
Says the government wants you to at least prove you did your best to comply with ADA, right? So one of the things I brought this one up because I wanted to answer this because I forgot to mention this earlier. So when we were talking about doing your due diligence and things like that with the ADA compliance, it is different everywhere, Jacqueline, right? So there may be specific laws and things in the UK that are different from the US. It's even different inside the US itself. For instance, New York and California have their own set of ADA compliance rules and laws that need to be followed. So if you're in one of those areas, you're going to want to not only look at what's going on at the federal level, but also what's going on within your state, because those can be different. So you definitely want to check that out. And then let's see Patty's last question here. So are the website client sites ADA compliant, or only if we do a lot of work to get the compliant? I think, are you talking about
She's talking about our theme. So Patty, so if you open actually, I don't know this to be 100% true, so I'm not guaranteeing you this. When you use a theme from WordPress, a free theme from WordPress, the framework, right? The software, and you upload an image to that site, you now have a responsibility, if you're the site owner, to, according to the rules and ADA guidelines, to make that image ADA compliant. So I wouldn't be looking at it like, are the website client, like the themes that we give you, are those ADA compliant? Because in order to put those up, you are going to make sure and sell them to somebody and give them to a client. You're going to have to add images. You're going to have to add content. You're going to have to do things. And those things are going to have to be ADA compliant. So it's not really the theme or the framework. No matter what site you put up, you are going to have to do things to make them ADA compliant. So I don't know that any theme is going to be 100%. And maybe there are. I could be wrong. Actually, there are. I think there are ADA. And I'm pretty sure Luther has one, to tell you the truth.
Maybe.
But yeah.
Awesome.
So I would just operate under the guise of them not being, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Let's do our shout out winners. And I'm gonna
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money,
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar. Cheating, bling, bling, cut the chatter. You ain't talking money, then you're talking no matter.
I love that song. We need to pick some winners.
Yes, we have the winners. So our Cash App, the folks on our team that or in the community that congratulated our shout outs earlier in the show. So if you were here earlier, Jack Miller and Will Lee, you are winners. So we're going to send you some Cash App money.
Congratulations. That's awesome. And I did see another good thing. I was just getting ready to pull that up from Sandy, right?
That's really good.
Yeah. So Sandy, that's exactly right. You say, look, no one can be 100% compliant because the rules continually change, but we need to at least show that you put forth an effort to comply. So I think that would, obviously, Sandy, you want to check with a legal person, an attorney, all that stuff, but I think that's a good start.
There's nothing wrong with doing that, though. There really isn't.
Yeah. Doing what you just said there, I don't think there's any way that can hurt you. It can only help you.
It can't hurt you, and it can certainly help them, right? If they have a website that's 0% ADA compliant to 50% ADA compliant, at least you're giving them some sort of a leg to stand on, and you can feel pretty good about that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, man, listen, it's been another awesome live show. Great questions, great feedback. Hope you enjoyed the content. Again, if you want to check out the special deal Luther put together for our community, just go to offlinesharks.com/compliance-FB. You'll see it there. It's only going to be up for another couple days, so you want to go check that out. If you have questions, you can post them in the Facebook group, or you can hit us up at offlinesharks.com/support. Thanks for hanging out with us this Friday. Enjoy the rest of your Aloha Friday, and we'll see you next Friday. Same shark time, same shark channel. And I'm going to cue the outro.
You've been listening to the Sharks Live Show, your weekly local marketing jam session. Every week, packed full of local marketing strategy, tactics, tips, and fun. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this stream. You can stay up to date throughout the week with Nick's YouTube videos at nickponte.com/YouTube and Tom's podcast at tomgaddis.com. We'll be back here next Friday for another Sharks Live Show. Until then, aloha.